Good morning. I'm Ken Ito, the director of the center, and it's my great pleasure to welcome you to today's noon lecture. Today's speaker is Sadashi Inuzuka, who's a professor in our School of Art and Design here at the University of Michigan. Professor Inuzuka holds an MFA from Cranbrook Academy of Arts. He primarily works in ceramics, but I just found out that he also works in bread and in rice, so with a broad range of materials. His work has been exhibited broadly in this country, in Canada, and in Japan. Over the last decade or so, concurrent to his work as an artist, Professor Inuzuka has also developed a commitment to art education, especially for the disabled. This is the topic of his talk today, Beyond Sight, S-I-T-E, sight as a place, and sight as in seeing, art and disability in Japan and Michigan.
Thank you very much, Ito Sensei. Okay, I'm gonna start talking a little bit nervous, but I think start talking, that's okay. I'm gonna talk about, maybe start with how much I hated Japan and how much I hated being person with disability. And I'm gonna start. I was born and raised in Kyoto, Japan. That's 1,200 years of history. It's a very old city. It's a very pretty city, but in a society it's very tight. And lots of obligations and all those things. Maybe it's difficult to kind of imagine for the American people, but I couldn't breathe. It was society was so tight, and then I gotta get out. And then 30 years ago, I came to North America. And then I wanted to be an artist. I wanted to be free. Japan is a free country, but not as free as here. And so I came to North America. Yes, it's incredible freedom. I always talk to my students. Freedom, you think it's like air, like you don't see it, you don't feel it, and then you guys take for granted, but freedom is incredible things. And then I came here. Freedom is, I can see it, like air with the color, so I can see all over the places freedom. So I wanted to really, really enjoy this freedom. So I came here 30 years ago. I wanted to be an artist, but artist not with a disability. I wanted the people to recognize me as a contemporary artist, not artist with disability, nor Japanese artist. I did not like this label. So most of the time, I never talk about my disability. I have retinoschisis. I'm legally blind. But I'm pretty maneuver okay because all those decades I have to fake it. I can see it because I really didn't want anyone to know my disability. Because as soon as I say that, people will say, oh, artist with disability. Oh, I can show your work because of your disability. No, I didn't want that. I wanted people to recognize me. So work itself, it's a good work, so they can show. And so I didn't tell anybody about disability. So all I wanted that time was self-expression. And also, it's a little embarrassing to say, but I wanted to be rich and famous. Yay! These days, I talk to my student. No one says that. And a student will say, why do you want to be? And say, well, I want to do something good to the society. Wow, it's like, I didn't think so, their age. And I'm kind of embarrassed about that and always talk. It's, at the same time, they are really good students. but I really miss a little bit of wildness within them too. So those work I don't explain. You can see how I was ambitious, and I was full of myself. And those installations always, these are ceramics. It's a big, and I did those works in lots of different places. I went to China, Europe, many places. I worked hard, and this is outdoor sculpture as well. And I worked really hard without thinking anything. And this is 98, I think, one exchange student from Japan gave me a book by a Japanese educator, Yohei Nishimura. And the book's title was Let's Make Something You Have Never Seen. And work by his experience as a teacher at the School for Blind in Japan. And lots of pictures and lots of his experience. And when I read it, something really opened up, and I was shocked, and I cried a lot, and I was so ashamed that up to that point, I really didn't want people to know I'm Japanese and I have a disability. And I was hiding all those things. And then that one book really opens me up. And I thought I could do something with what I can do. And I decided to invite Yohei Nishimura to here in U of M. And then we did a workshop together, invited little children from Detroit with visually impaired and blind. And then we did a workshop. So I thought, this is what I can do with what I know. So I started 1999, but I wanted to know what's going on in Japan with art and disability. So I got a CJS grant and went to Japan and visited many places. And when I was in Japan, little things I didn't notice, like everywhere in sidewalk, I found this for the people with blind. Not only one direction, many directions. When I was living in Japan, I never pay attention to that. But this time, I could see lots of things. And I visited lots of places and how they use craft and art in their education for children with disability or adult in disability. And this is a calligraphy. And most of people here have a cognitive disability. But their calligraphy is incredible, powerful. It's like I can feel it with my heart. And this girl was every day, hours and hours, copy newspaper article and write. Entire newspaper. And I met lots of children with autism in Japan. And they're amazing. They can do same thing over and over and over again, all day. And they end up incredible, powerful art become. And my tendency is to do over and over again, same thing over and over again. But I was blown away because their power is no comparison to my work. And they use weaving. Not only clay, so many things I learned. Paintings, to weaving, to calligraphy. And then this is, again, person with a cognitive impairment, disability, that they tend to do, can make so many repetition, many multiple pieces they make. Then I started in workshop in Detroit because I thought, I believe something I can contribute. And then this is the very beginning. I didn't know what to do. The first time I faced children with visually impaired and blind. But I just jumped in, and then I did lots of trial and error. And then beginning, it's very interesting. It's in Japan, I learned those techniques in Japan. And I noticed they do not use colors. All those clay is either monotones, black, or there's no glaze, or no colors. So I thought this is a natural things to do. So I started with no colors. And since '99, every year, after semester is over, we organized, and then most of the time, just around the probably duration of 2 weeks, about 70 to 80 students from the Detroit area comes, and then all volunteer students. Not only the School of Art and Design, but some students come from different units of university. And then they really work with the children. And then we found a difference between Japan and here. Here, people like colors. And I found we cannot deny colors. But then how are we going to show them how to use color to blind children? Then we decided this is the connection between students with disability and then the people without the disability. So color is the people who can see is most the reaction to that piece. So let's make a color. So we build the vocabulary to the blind children. For instance, that, okay, blue, what is blue? And then we said blue is the color of water. It's not entirely true, of course, color of the water or sky. And then the blind person will say, yeah, I love swimming in the pool. So the person, the blue is the feeling of freedom swimming in the water. So she or he uses blue in their work, knowing what is blue. Of course, they cannot see it, but they can understand what blue means. So finished work become really colorful. That's very different from Japan. And also, I was so impressed by our student, and they really build up beautiful relationship with those children with blind. And I have a respect to our student, and they did more than I expected. So I'll show that these photos by Pam Gonzo, she's here, and she volunteer taking a picture every year. So I really appreciate her work. And then 4 years ago, I wanted to make this workshop in the proper course in art and design. So we start teaching as a course in Ann Arbor, and this time not children but to the adult with the people with disability, mainly visual impairment and the blind. But I think a lot of disability comes with multiple disability. So I start teaching lots of different disability now. Again, this is art student and people with disability partner up, and they build the relationship. And more than the finished work, artwork became secondary. The most important product of this course was the relationship between our student and those seniors and people with a disability. Those workshop is still this is still this semester too. It's happening at the CIL Ann Arbor Center for Independent Living, and those are children's work, and you see colorful, very colorful work. So free and colorful. And I wanted to have a show of children and then seniors work together. So this is 2008, we had a show in Detroit, and then we had a show together. So all those students, our students, they bring a partner from Ann Arbor to Detroit. We chartered a UN bus, and all those people with disability, we all went to Detroit and celebrate our work. And all the work, people can come and touch, because they have to touch. They have to feel it. And then this year, I went back to Japan, and I wanted to know what's going on in Japan with, again, 10 years later, is art and disability. And I was lucky to attend the conference about accessibility of the museum. So lots of museums in Japan try to, I think it's more be accessible to the people with disability. And then these, we enjoy just touching all those artifacts in the museum. And then this is a ceramic museum. This is the first show they mounted to people can touch. Usually those ceramics, the maker makes it. They feel it by hand. But then in the museum, in the glass case. So they really wanted people to touch it. So anyone can enjoy it. So I really respect their courage to do that. It's amazing. These are real things. It's not a replica, but they let people to touch it. And we enjoy. This is a climbing chamber kiln. This is a Shigaraki in Shiga Prefecture. And it's 1300 years. Still keep firing. The kiln site, of course, it's a kiln. They have to rebuild, but it's still a center of the ceramics in Japan. And then I was lucky. They yeah, they let me lead the workshop to Japanese people who are visually impaired and blind. And this is, this is, yeah, I know Japanese young people always dye their hair. But no, he is has a albino, so he's not. Often that people with albino has a bad eyesight too. So, and this person was totally blind too, but it's amazing that how they express. And then he refused to paint the color. And then I really convinced him to paint the color. It took me a long time, but enough that he enjoyed. And then some people who can see, I ask them to use a blind font and make things how you feel. It's a totally different perception when you close your eyes and touch it, and you see something totally different. And finally, I really appreciate that the CJS grant. I wanted to bring what we were doing to Japan, the way I learned how to do this workshop at the beginning. So, and I had a show. We had a show in Shigaraki, and lots of pictures I show, and then work. Those work, I thought I'm not gonna show. Well, I really wanted to show the children's work, the children's work. That children is no longer, some cases alive, some cases disappear. This is Brent. 3 years ago, I was waiting him to come to the workshop, and random shooting 3 years ago, he was shot in head, and no longer, he's gone. But he left his work, and I really wanted to show. So I brought all those work. I cannot find the children, the owner of the work, and all the work I show in Japan is those kind of work. And his work, they gave us a really beautiful glass case, but I didn't want to put those work in the glass case. But they said, well, liability, they have to. So I really begged them to show small pieces out so people can touch. And then now back to my work. And since I was aware, and all those children taught me lots of things, and then I changed, my work changed. Now I really aware of I am Japanese. And this is the work change, that the forefront is kind of Zen garden with rice, and background is bread. So like myself, east and west, these are bread, made of bread, and these are rice. And it was good because after the show, everybody can take home those rice. So no waste, And my work is changing because I wanted to, lots of concerns about society. And this work is about technology, because one cone is made of totally digital, no human hands involved. And then one cone was made of hand. Looks the same. And then I was concerned about, well, especially GMOs or natural, organic things, or studio artists, we make things by hand, or same thing, machine can do it. And then I think now I'm full awareness about being Japanese, and then and also the disability. So I did this work about perception. So one piece says speak or talk. So people talk into that. Looks like a microphone, but microphone is the video camera. And then one side says watch. Then that looks like a video camera, but a microphone. So it's opposite. And then whatever they said, so they are talking into microphone, their mouth can be shown in the video monitor. And then they think they are doing, on the picture. And then they say, whatever they say is going to announce loudly whole entire place. So it's about perception. So it's like you can see the mouse. Like this is a project monitor. So interesting about perception and how people see things and the assumption and all those things. So my work, right hand side is now there's a video camera, and then you wanted to see, and then monitor in the below, and then you wanted to see your face, of course. Then in order to see your face, you have to bend. When you bend, your face disappear, of course. And then other thing is you talk into microphone, and we all wanted to hear how it sound. So, but comes out, it's a very distorted voice of yours that comes out, that kind of work. And also this is about carps. All those are invasive species of carp, but as a Japanese, carp is very important fish. Boys Day, and carp is important. Carp is a very Japan, China, Korea, very important fish. But here is a threat to the Great Lakes. So I wanted to make something about that, but more accessible to the people. So I made this about this dish, but you can very close, you can hug this work, and then you can hear speaker inside. You can hear the song of Koinobori, the song of the Boys' Day song. So you like this. And then as you see, it's a Go game, right? Game of Go. And Game of Go is a territory. You're taking a territory things. So those Asian carps are taking a territories. So black one, you hear a Japanese song about carps. And the white one is the noise, silence. So you can hug them, and then you can just put your ear onto it. And then this one is, I made it for people who has a visual impairment or blind, also for everybody. And this is a granite sculpture, but at the same time, sand box. And the people come and play, make those things, and there is a boom, you can erase it. But whenever boom stops, the sounds comes out. And those sounds are recorded by nearby school of the blind and visually impaired. So they can change it. So each sound, blind children record it, you can hear. The 6 point, it's kind of I use the technology too. And that's I did. And then dream. My wife and I purchased some land in the really remote island in Pacific Northwest, the passage to Alaska. And I want to make a art center because my love of nature and also concern about accessibility or equality. I think I would like to. It's about not so big, but we have a 13-acre of beautiful place, and this is from the top of the our place. You can look the water and mountains, and then we wanna open the someday art center. So we invite artists or writer or musician, and also I would like to invite people with disability or children or university student to understand about nature and then human nature at the same time. And this is my dream. And thank you very much for listening.